have the technology right now with regular flicker rates on televisions and regular cell phone radiation from the tower in certain proximity to make people kill themselves. That's declassified, and I'll be covering it. But when 5G goes in every 50 to 100 yards, it's all public fact that they're not just putting a spy grid in, this big public service of this 5G we all need. They are putting in the tested, perfected mind control towers that, by the way, on record, just like Bird Box, kills you. But you don't just kill yourself right away. It takes time. It scrambles your DNA. It scrambles your genome. And Wired Magazine, LA Times admits, it kills you.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
A few days ago, a group of scientists, doctors, environmental organizers, and concerned citizens got together and they called for the urgent stop to the deployment of 5G. They said that it's been proven harmful to human bodies, that this is an experiment on humanity, and that this should be called a crime under international law.
"5G is a weapon. It's used by the military. Do you know these 5G millimeter wave technologies are used to scatter crowds? They drive up in this technology when they want to scatter a cloud, and they put out these frequencies in a much higher power than 5G will be initially with us, but the same frequencies. And people scatter because they get the feeling their skin is on fire. Because the human body, including the skin, is an antenna. It interacts with frequencies and it receives and transmits information. At the cutting edge of understanding of DNA, scientists know that DNA is a receiver-transmitter of information.
I have to tell people 5G story. It's bigger than the Holocaust. It's bigger than anything you've ever heard. I'm Mark Steele. Anybody who hasn't heard me. I'm a weapons systems head-up display expert. I'm one of the leading experts in the world. I've actually brought cover in relation to this, and the reason I became an expert was because I invented 5G is a killer. Hi everybody, interesting times, eh? So we've got the coronavirus scam. Everybody knows that Wuhan province was a 5G test centre, all right, because they'd already deployed it. Well, that's what happens when you live in a communist country. So you live in a communist country where the government just do what they want, the police it how they want, don't tell anybody anything. A lot of people aren't really bothered about the fact that we've had our democracy well and truly stolen. That's if we ever really had one. It was just a smokescreen, waiting for the day when they wanted to clamp and kill everybody. Because that's what's basically going on, isn't it? Right now, I know it sounds unbelievable, but unfortunately the technicalities and the science of the equipment that they're rolling out on top of you, the illegal, uninsurable 5G LED weapon system, is, as a matter of fact, here to kill. So these criminals, what I'm saying is, you need to go on the offensive. We need to speak to the local police. If the police won't act, then the people will have to act. All right, so get organised, get together, because unfortunately for them, we are far too early. But too early. The opportunity is now before you get hit up with this coronavirus. Corona, very interesting word for a virus, that is, because obviously anybody in the electrical industry can tell you the corona is the magnetic flux field, the electrical field that emits from high power cables. And obviously a lot of high power cable workers, they die pretty quickly. They don't last very long, especially if they stay in that field for very long. So it is quite interesting how they call the virus a coronavirus when the phased collimated beamwave forming technology that are deploying in Wuhan causes a corona. And obviously I've seen some of the pictures and believe us, It doesn't look like a virus to me. Projectile vomiting viruses. People just collapsing as if they're being shot by a direct energy weapon, collapsing in the street. Doesn't look like a virus either. I've shown pictures of people, whether they might be actors, I mean, we wouldn't really know, because obviously anything come out of China, like the LED streetlights, we don't know if they've actually been tested. No wonder Theresa May and the government want the Chinese to build the weapons part of the 5G. That's the antennas, by the way. That's how you weaponize your telecommunications. Well, what's masquerading as a telecommunications network. The coronavirus, obviously, that is going to kill quite a few. China wasn't the target area. The European countries and the USA most certainly were the target. That's not happening, is it? So unfortunately, they've directed and come in another way by developing what they say is a virus, a weaponized bioweapon in China. That's going to kill quite a lot of people and cause a massive hysteria, because the markets are going to collapse as they are shut in all of the ports in China. And obviously the Chinese economy is going to collapse. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? So the controllers are going to lose a bit of control, because I can see things getting right out of hand, because the war that they have declared on the people, whenever you declare war, and they haven't actually literally declared war, what they've done, it's a secret war that they've declared, but they didn't tell us. That's illegal. That is an offence. So they've committed a number of offences, and also you can't declare war on civilians, and they've also declared war on civilians. That's also another offence.
So we are electromagnetic, electrical organisms, transmitters and receivers of information. When our electromagnetic fields are in balance and harmony, we have health. We have psychological health and we have physical health. The reason that this technological society is causing so much psychological and, quote, physical disease is because these frequencies, technologically driven, and we live in this Wi-Fi world now and all the phone masts and all the rest of it, these technologically generated frequencies are scrambling the balance of the human electromagnetic electrical communication systems. And if you scramble them, you create a state of disharmony, dis-ease, which plays through to physical and mental, emotional, psychological dis-ease. And there's another point to this. The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically, and it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology has long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with, because we are antenna. Okay. Now, some decades ago, there was a guy who worked out the frequencies of different emotional states. This is long ago. I mean, it's very, very sophisticated now. So every thought, every emotional response is a frequency. It generates a frequency, and it is of itself a frequency. Hate is a frequency, and it's different to love. You know, when you are in a room and there's lots of aggression and conflict and hatred, you feel it. What do people say? Oh God, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife in there. That is because the frequencies of hate and conflict have been so generated, they have changed the electromagnetic field of the room.
Okay, so 5G is going to be weaponized against us potentially.
Yeah, but the point being that they worked out the frequencies of various emotions, including rage and what have you. And basically, they can play across a community these frequencies without anyone knowing, and it starts to have an effect, and it starts to build rage, it starts to build anger, and people might not realize why they're feeling it, but they start to feel it. And then what they do is they trigger that with an event. Maybe some guy is attacked by the police or something, or somebody's arrested for something they didn't commit, and now there's the trigger. The blue touch paper's been lit of this manufactured frequency-driven rage, and you have mass riots and what have you, and people do things that they wouldn't normally do. And you can make people depressed. You know, the American military, they've admitted this. They have technology that fires frequencies at the enemy that basically breaks the enemy's spirit so they give up and put their weapons down. This is the technology we're dealing with. Now you take that into account and then you think of 5G. First of all, 5G doesn't travel well because of the nature of its frequency. So instead of big towers, as we have now, broadcasting these frequencies long distances, it won't do that. And it doesn't go through solid objects, what we call solid objects, very well either. So to overcome that, there are going to be boxes broadcasting 5G, this weapon, down every street, all over the world. You're talking phenomenal numbers of these boxes, broadcasting like on the lamp standard outside your children's bedroom and stuff, broadcasting this stuff. There's no way you'll be able to go where you'd be in a field of 5G. And another interesting thing, I don't know whether you've noticed this, but the story broke first of all in Sheffield, when the council started cutting down literally thousands and thousands and thousands of mature trees in urban streets. And there were big protests about it. You know, Sheffield claimed to be a green city, but all these mature trees were coming down, thousands of them. And my brother, he works as a call-out bus mechanic. So a bus will break down, they'll call him, we'll come down and fix it on the side of the road. So he's traveling all the time. And he's saying it's amazing how many mature trees are being cut down. Now, the worst nightmare of 5G in a street is mature trees, because it can't get through them. They don't want urban trees for 5G because it won't go through solid objects very well at all, and it doesn't travel far. So we're going to have this explosion of 5G transmitters, and then, going back to what I said earlier, and they've admitted this too, there's going to be like 20,000 satellites up there beaming 5G at the Earth.